Good afternoon. Welcome to Lancaster Connects, the show about small business and small charity success in Lancaster County. We highlight the best and the most interesting that Lancaster has to offer, showcase the battle on Main Street, big versus small, David versus Goliath, if you will. Again, showing what makes Lancaster so great. As you can see, it's just me. Jeff has been replaced by a book with his name on it. Say hello, Jeff. Okay, he doesn't want to talk today. No, Jeff is out of town. He's moving about the country, if you will, really making an impact with some of our vendor partners and connecting the dots on a lot of the different projects that we got going on here at Gardner's Mattress and More. Right now, he's in Las Vegas at the industry trade show that happens twice a year. And he and I were talking this morning about some new products that we're going to be putting onto the showroom floor. And, since I mentioned the showroom floor, the background might look a little different. We're in a new location in the showroom. I can't turn the camera to show you what's else is going on, but we teased a few weeks ago that we had a painting project going on, and you really should visit if you're a customer and you're watching, or never visited and want to visit. You should come take a look, because if you've been in the showroom before and you've seen, I think it always looked nice, but we've been here for 12 years and the paint was a little old. There were some marks on the wall from various things that we've had on the wall over the years, and different paint schemes or themes in different parts of the showroom. So it was kind of a mishmash, if you will, of colors in the showroom. Now the painting is done. It took 2 weeks. Shout out to Two Dudes Painting. We had Tony Kirkner from Two Dudes on in the spring. Two Dudes is a fantastic company. The crew that was here can't say enough good things about the work and the effort they put in. We had a wall of death, we called it, that had a bunch of stickers on it, and it needed a major patch job, but it's now painted over and fixed, and you can't tell the horrors that were what it was before. But the showroom looks fantastic. It's a nice light gray on the wall behind me and around the showroom. Back of the showroom, we've got a new Tempur-Pedic display that we're going to install later this week. It really is classy looking. And we've got some other surprises coming to the showroom. Some things we're doing with our displays, really making this place look super fantastic. I think up to the level of service and products that we offer here at Gardner's Mattress and More. So please visit, take a look, walk around the showroom. I think it looks fantastic. So shout out to Two Dudes. They did a great job. Just a few notes. You can watch this. If you're watching it now, you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, or possibly a LinkedIn channel at both Gardner's Mattress and More and the Lancaster Connects pages across Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. There's Jana, super fan Jana Hoover Green. Change is hard, but you know what? And I should give a shout out to our team. We did a lot in here. We moved almost every mattress in the showroom around. So our service team, delivery and service team, and our sales team, we had a lot going on in the last couple of weeks. Right, Drew? Indeed. So kudos to them. They did a fantastic job. Change is hard, but change is good too. So, we're not changing who we are and what we do. We're just changing maybe what we look like to kind of match that experience. So, I see Adrian, thanks for checking in. It's a good segue, commenting, and we've now got 3 comments. Look at this, commenting and, liking the posts and whatnot, enters you into our contest. And conveniently located over here, we've got our Less Snore, More Cuddle Hydro Flask and tumblers. Your choice of one of those 2 great gifts, or a restaurant gift card, $25 restaurant gift card to a nice restaurant in Lancaster County. We got a bunch of restaurants handpicked and ready to go here. So if you're our winner, we'll spin the prize later at the end. And if you're our winner, you can come in and pick out one of these great gifts or the $25 restaurant gift card. Yes, leveling up. Thanks, Jana. Man, I can always expect comments from Jana Hoover Green and Amy. Amy's a super fan as well. So thanks for tuning in. without further ado, I've got a fantastic guest for today. She actually, I'm meeting her for the first time today, which is a shame because we have a lot of mutual friends and people that we're connected to and our businesses are connected to. But I'm thrilled to have her on. You're going to meet Lancaster's homegirl, Christina Diehl. There she is. Hey, Christina. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, am I
There you are.
muted? Okay,
You might have been muted. Chris is pressing the buttons in the background. So
no problem.
yeah. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, so we'll do our normal thing here. We've got some questions about the Lancaster Homegirl and another venture that you've got going on, the Money Girl, and then we'll talk. We'll do our connection cocktail at the end where we'll learn a little bit more about you. But just as an introduction, you're a Lancaster native, is that right?
Yeah, born and raised in Lidditz.
Okay.
And
All right.
yeah, my whole family still lives in Lidditz. I'm the furthest one away, the whole 8 miles south into Lancaster City. So
Oh, you defected.
yeah, they were like, "You're moving where?"
Yeah, right. That's right. So are you in Lancaster City now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I first moved here, I guess it was in 2005, thinking that
Okay.
eventually I would move back to Lidditz, but then I just fell in love with the city. So yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
like the Chestnut Hill area of Lancaster City.
Okay. Very nice.
I
Very
love
nice.
it.
I live pretty much in between the two. I'm like just south of the Lancaster airport. So
Nice.
I think I have the best of both worlds. I can be like 10 minutes or less into Lancaster City and less than
Mhm.
10 minutes to Lidditz. And there's so much cool things going on in both cities. I don't get a lot of time with kids and a new puppy to get out and do stuff. But,
Yeah.
every time I drive through Lancaster City, there's like a new restaurant or a new gallery or a new thing that's
Mhm.
popped up. And I think the same thing could be said about Lidditz too. Really, two neat cities and communities to have grown up in and to currently live in. That's cool.
For sure. Yeah, I think I'm very fortunate.
Yep. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think Lancaster Countians, is that the right word, are fortunate in general to have these really
Sure.
neat and unique communities really across the county. So,
Mhm.
a Lidditz native, you're a Warwick graduate, I'm assuming.
Mhm. Yep,
Okay.
Warwick, 1999.
99. That's funny. I did. So I'm a mattress retailer, and I've been so for 22 years. But I actually have a music education degree that I've never used. And so this is interesting. In 1999, I believe the fall of 1999, I did my student teaching at Warwick High School or Warwick School District. So that was across
Okay.
high school band and chorus. If you were in high school band and chorus, we might have crossed paths then.
Well, that if it was fall of '99, that would have been right after I
It,
graduated, right?
okay, right. If you graduated, and yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would have
So
been crazy.
it was a year after that. So it was across elementary, middle school, and high schools. But that's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Warwick is a great school.
Mhm.
We sat on the Warwick High School lawn and watched the fireworks on July 4th. So.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep. So, all right, enough introduction. Let's dive into. I've always been curious. The Lancaster Homegirl name. I think
Mhm.
it's unique and cool. How did that come about?
Yeah, it was early on in my real estate career. I was meeting with a new lender, Mark Ponce, and if you're familiar with him, he just has a
I know Mark.
very yeah. He's got a great marketing mind and very creative. And I think in our first meeting, he was just like, he's like, "You're like Lancaster Homegirl." And I was like, "What?" Like I didn't necessarily like it at first. I didn't think it sounded
Yeah.
professional enough. And then it just kind of grew into a thing. He kind of put some branding behind it for me and really helped me out. And it took on a life of its own to, people still just kind of call me homegirl as opposed to Christina sometimes. And
Right.
just worked out really well. Yeah, it's fun.
That's so cool. Did you advertise in Fine Living Lancaster in Mark's publication or?
Yeah, I was in there a couple times.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. That's cool. We haven't been in there in a while, but we advertised in there pretty heavily. Wrote a monthly, or well, I guess quarterly article it's probably going back 8 to 10 years ago that we were with Mark. But yeah, Mark's super cool.
Mhm.
He was a guest a handful of months ago on Lancaster Connects. But that's really neat that it just kind of came out of like, it's not something you created. It was just like said,
Yeah.
and like then you it took on a life of its own, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think it's funny that people call you homegirl, and like, you're Christina, but you're like it's her homegirl.
Yeah. I
Like
love
that's
it.
how people know you. It's neat. It's so cool. So real estate. How long have you been selling homes?
I started in 2010.
Okay.
So pretty much the worst time possible.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was literally, I think I got licensed like a week after that $8,000 federal tax grant that they were giving out to people
My
that bought
gosh.
homes. So anyone who was going to buy a home had already bought a home, and here I
Right.
am like, "Hey guys, I'm a realtor now." So it's been, just a journey of it continuously progressively getting better over the years since I started out at the lowest point possible.
Yeah.
So it was a good way to learn how to really do real estate when things were slow. And then it just continued to get better year over year.
Yeah. Yeah. I bought my first house in 2006, and that was kind of like at the height of the pricing market. Well,
Yeah.
except for now, but back then.
Right.
So I bought up here, and then yeah, 2008, 9, 10, whatever. It was like, and then the
Yeah.
house, we had like a 5 year plan on the townhouse, and that turned into 10 years because the house
Oh,
value was down here, and like basically ended up renting the house, it seemed, for 10 years until we were actually able to sell it. But I know exactly
oh.
what you're talking about in that time of starting out. So what did you 2010, 11, just getting started, what did you have to do to kind of stand out? Like what made people want to work with you, either to buy or sell a house?
Yeah. Well, I think I made the decision for myself right away that I didn't want to buy leads or even really prospect. I didn't want to do anything that made it feel like people were just a number to me, just
Yeah,
trying to
right.
drum up business that way. So I made the conscious decision of building my business through referral only. So
Mm,
I made it my job to build relationships with people and just meet people and go to every networking event um possible. That's all I did. I just went and met people and built relationships and over time. So I think it took a little bit longer to get
mhm.
my real estate business really up and running, but to me, it was up and running in a better way because it took time to have enough people feel confident referring me to their friends and family. But at the same time, then everyone that I was working with, there was already a level of trust and it just made the job even easier. So I'm really glad I did it that way, even though it was kind of slow going at first.
Yeah, absolutely. In a lot of ways, you're talking very similar language to the way we speak and think about things here at Gardner's Mattress and more. Most mattress stores, chains and whatnot, customers are just numbers. They flood the market
Mhm.
with advertising, try to get as many people in the doors as possible, sell as many mattresses as possible, and yeah, I mean, you're going to do a bunch of business maybe that way, but is it the right kind of business, especially
Mhm.
the type of business that's going to refer and recommend and all of
Right.
that? And, we've been around for 32 years. And yeah, the first, 10, 15, even 20 years of the business, it kind of feels like a slow grind in a way.
Yeah.
But, once you establish that relationship with people, I think 65% of our business that last time we checked, probably a year ago, 65% of our business comes from word of mouth, friends and family, coworkers, just people spreading the word, people that have seen the
Yeah.
reviews, all that. So yeah, it takes time to build, but it's absolutely the right way to do it because like you said, the people that you're talking to, they've already got some level of trust with you. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you? So I guess there's two sides of real estate, right? There's people buying homes and people selling homes. Is there a side that you like better, or are they both kind of like equal?
Um, I feel like it depends on the specific transaction. They're all so different, so it just
Okay,
depends. I really like helping people buy property because
okay,
I mean, for a lot of reasons, I just think it's one of the best financial decisions that people can make, and it sets them up for a healthier financial future and just so many positive things. So So yeah, I really like helping people find either the home that they're living in or their investment properties. It just kind of gets me excited that
Okay.
they're making a strong decision for their future. Um, but also listing homes is fun because you get to like take all the pictures and do the marketing and make it
Right.
exciting. And so yeah, I don't know if I could pick a favorite really.
Yeah. Do you ever go into a situation where like you have to do a lot of work to get a house ready to go? Like tell the homeowner, hey, you got to do this, this, and this, and this. Is that
Yeah. Well, and that varies too, because you have to be able to explain the difference between like, okay, if we list it like this,
yep,
here's what your proceeds are going to look like if you put some time and effort into it. And then sometimes they don't even want to put the time and effort. And sometimes they're like, okay, let's take some time and do this right. So
yep.
it's yeah, every home is a different story. And that's part of what I love about real estate. It's never boring, it's every day is a
That's
different
yeah.
thing. Mhm.
That's cool. So here comes a question. Jessica looks like coming through on Facebook. What area of the county would you say is the fastest growing? That's a great question. Thanks, Jessica.
That is a great question. I would say probably oh man, fastest growing. That could mean a lot of different things, I suppose.
It's
But
true. Yeah.
people are clamoring to get into Lidditz.
Sure.
It's
Yeah, I
it's
can
really
imagine.
hard to buy properties in Lidditz right now, and I think also Lancaster is really growing and expanding as it
Hmm.
has been for a few years. In the city specifically. So this, yeah, off the top of my head, those would be the two places that I would say are the most in demand.
Yeah, that's interesting. We're kind of on like the back end of the end of your transaction with a new home buyer, because a lot of times when people move or
Mhm.
buy a new house, they need a new mattress, right?
Yeah.
Why move the old mattress to the new house when you can get a new mattress? So um, we are kind of on the back end of that, and we have a lot of deliveries going into the Mount Joy area. Just seems to be a lot of new neighborhoods there. Definitely
Mhm.
Lidditz. But that kind of Mount Joy to Elizabethtown corridor just seems to be booming as well.
That is, yeah, lots of new construction going on right there.
Yep,
That's a good point.
yep, yep.
Mhm.
Cool. So, uh, what other advantage might you provide your clients either in buying a house or selling a house? What can the Lancaster Homegirl offer that maybe other realtors can't? Obviously,
Yeah.
you have your 12 plus years of experience, but what else do they get with Lancaster Homegirl?
I think a couple things. Well, I'm fun to work with. That's
Well,
most
yeah, of course.
important. But no, I mean, I've been interested in real estate since I was 10 years old and have been, learning about investing in real estate and investing in it myself. So I feel like the knowledge that I bring to a transaction, especially on the buy side in that
Yeah.
regard, is helpful to my clients. As far as listing homes, I do unique things. I mean, I have a pretty good social media presence, but I also do, mailers to the neighborhood of the
Okay.
property,
Yep.
and social media boosts for the specific properties for each of one of my listings. A lot of kind of unique marketing that is catching on more and more, but I be sure to be consistent with all my listings to make sure that they're getting as much marketing as possible.
That's cool. And you're across a few different social channels, so like Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
those are
I,
the
I
main
gotta
ones.
I gotta imagine that a realtor that's been able to figure that out can succeed because when you have, you know, incredible photos about a beautiful house that you're trying to sell, and you can get that out there to as many eyeballs as possible. That just boosts what you're doing there. That's awesome.
For sure.
Um, Another question that's I see coming in. It's not on the screen yet, but it's in the background. There it is. Thanks, Jessica, again for the question. Is flipping homes popular in Lancaster?
Very much so. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yep. More so in Lancaster City or Lidditz or both,
They're
kind of all over.
everywhere. Yeah. A lot of people
Okay.
are flipping homes. I guess I see it a lot in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe there's just more opportunities in Lancaster to flip homes, but
Yep.
there's homes being flipped all over the county, more rural areas, and yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of investors that see, good opportunity right now and have been really plugging away at it.
sure. And I can
Mhm.
imagine, if I'm not blurry anymore. I don't know if I was blurry on your screen, but for like a minute and a half, I was like blurry.
Oh,
Maybe it
yeah,
was
no.
just what I was seeing. Okay. So yeah, I mean, if you're buying, especially now, like you bought a property, what, like maybe 2 years ago when home values were maybe a little lower. And then of course,
Hmm.
as you're, flipping the house and redoing it, now the home values are up here.
Hmm.
I guess that had to be super lucrative for a lot of people that were doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So obviously, I mentioned 2 years ago the really 2.5, whatever it is, the pandemic
Mhm.
affected every industry everywhere. But I got to imagine real estate was one of the hardest hit,
Yeah.
and probably one of the industries that changed or had to evolve the most. You couldn't go on showings, and
Right.
I mean, the list of things that you couldn't do
Yeah.
during the pandemic. How did you navigate that, and how did things change for you?
Well, yeah, there were a few months there, and without any real end in sight, we didn't know when we were going to be allowed to work again. But the Pennsylvania government shut down real estate.
Oh,
We weren't allowed to work. so so I was fortunate. I even had a friend reach out that was like, "Are you okay? Like you can't make money
right.
right now?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "I have passive income. Like this goes back to my real estate investment. When everything shut down for the pandemic, I was like, oh, this is what I was preparing for. Like I didn't have
Yeah.
to worry about the fact that I couldn't work at the time because I had money coming in from my real estate investments. So so that was fine. It was more so just frustrating being, watching my clients, some of which were even like under contract and couldn't settle or couldn't get their inspection.
It's
And it just,
unbelievable.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Like housing wasn't considered a necessity or whatever the term was.
Right. Neither
Um,
was a mattress.
a
So
mattress. So, so yeah, that was just kind of frustrating and hard to watch people not have housing or worry about where their housing, what was going to happen with it. But then once things opened back up, what we've seen is just things have been much more streamlined. We had to figure
mhm,
out ways to do settlements more remotely and more efficiently.
mhm,
People learned how to do like video home tours better and
yep.
just more software and resources and things like that came into play with having to distantly show a home or things like that we still use. And so it did a lot of good things happen to the real estate industry in response to the limitations that we had for a while
Yep.
there
Yep.
due to the pandemic.
Like most businesses, you had to get a little creative, right?
Hmm.
It's kind of neat to see. Obviously, it was a challenge to go through. No matter what business or industry you're in, it was a challenge to go through what everybody went through, and
Hmm.
continue to deal with on some day to day level. But there's a lot of things that have come out of the pandemic that I think are really really fantastic.
Yep.
You mentioned the virtual home tours. We're working with a company now that got started doing virtual tours where you can kind of go through a house and like click on things that they've done a video scan, and you can click on things and things pop up. Or we're doing the
Nice.
same thing here in our showroom, so somebody can go through and do a virtual appointment, a mattress appointment, and as if they were in the showroom, they can do it from home. So we've got something in
That's
the works
fun.
that was kind of started in the real estate thing, but we're kind of bringing it into what do we do here? Retail.
Nice.
The word
What do we
escaped
do?
me. What am I doing? Retail. So you mentioned passive income is a good segue to
Mhm.
your other venture, the Money Girl.
Mhm.
So how did that come about as a
Yeah.
result of the pandemic?
I started the book before the pandemic.
Okay.
Um, and it really was just um I had started making, I guess, good financial choices for my life at a young age. And had set myself up obviously by being able to buy rental properties and things like that. To the point that I guess once I got into my 30s, I really started to notice people around me being like, "Man, I wish I knew what you knew. I wish I knew. I wish I knew." Like,
Uh-huh.
finding themselves in kind of like, well, reaping the, not the benefits, but of
Hmm.
their financial mistakes that they had made early in life and realizing
Right.
like,
Right.
"Man, I have to dig myself out of this first before I even start building wealth." And and that's what kind of made me realize, oh, I had a financial education that most people don't get. And when you're growing up as a kid, you think, oh, this is just what everybody learns. You don't realize that it's unique. And so when I realized how fortunate I was to have learned these things at a really young age, I started to think, man, someone needs to start teaching kids this. I was like, I don't want to, 20 years from now, have people that are 17 now wake up and think, man, I wish someone had told me this when I was 17 about how to look at money and use money
Yeah.
and just all that stuff. So I was like, man, someone should write a book. And I am not a writer. I'm just I don't know. I never ever thought I would write a book. It wasn't anything that was on my bucket list or anything, but after a while I
Right.
was like, I bet that my story, like my experience could possibly benefit some young people, that they could see, hey, this is possible and I do have options, different than just living in debt, and that's not normal, and
Yep.
stuff to just make kids think about money in a different way, hopefully.
That's so cool. I think often we have a story to tell that's up here, and yeah, you sit down to write a book. You don't. It's not something maybe you set out to do, but
Right.
like your wealth of experience across, your real estate career and the lessons you learned and the knowledge you have. Yeah, that's definitely a story. So, you say, or you said you learned some of these financial lessons early on.
Mhm.
Where did you learn these lessons?
Well, primarily my dad. I mean, our household was very, I guess, financially conservative,
Okay,
from I don't even remember how young, but it was just instilled in us that you don't spend more than you make, and
makes sense.
seems like common sense, but I feel like maybe for a lot of kids or young adults, unless you really spell that out, they just look at it as normal to use credit cards and use loans for things that you don't really need, and that's spending more than you make. So
Yep.
so I think that was really helpful to just have that. There was no question in my life I wasn't going to spend more than I made. And then, I think on top of that, I used to help my dad. He was a landlord. He still is. But when I
Sure.
was young, when I was like 10 even, I would go and help my dad work on properties because I thought it was
Mm,
fun. I liked learning how to use power tools and spend time with
yeah.
my dad and all that stuff. And so while we were there is when he really started to explain to me about how being a tenant works and how being a landlord works. And doesn't it sound better to be the person that owns the property with people paying you to live there as opposed to being the person that's paying for someone
Hmm.
else's mortgage essentially?
Yep.
And I was like, well, yeah, it sounds really good to be a landlord. And so that's when I first became interested in real estate. Um, and and yeah, and then so that's where my financial education came from. I think
Yep.
mainly just conversations that my dad didn't even realize um that he was giving me such a benefit. I think
Yep.
this is just what he liked to talk about, and it was just kind of like second nature to him. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You're very fortunate to have that
Mhm,
experience and knowledge passed down. So, your book, a
mhm,
combination of those early life lessons
mhm.
and combined with your real estate knowledge and investing knowledge, that what the book is about, or is there more behind it?
So the book is really the intention is to really just get young people talking more about money and understanding that there are options. So I touch on a lot of different things, and it all harkens back to being intentional with your money, not wondering
Mhm.
where your money went, telling your money where to go. And so real estate does come into it at a couple different points throughout the book, just because that's my life. And I think that's one of the best investments that anybody can make. But I didn't want the book necessarily to be about real estate. It's about,
Okay, right.
empowering young people and showing them the benefits of financial freedom, not the how you become financially independent or even just,
Right.
financially secure, but also why. And the fact that being generous and being able to be abundantly generous doesn't come by not, counting your pennies and being fiscally conservative or being just really smart with your money. If you want to be able to bless others in your community or even have the time to spend volunteering at organizations and things like that, you kind of have to have a little bit of financial freedom, and you have to
Mhm.
sacrifice um probably earlier on in life to have more passive income or more income later in life. to be able to do good in the world.
Right. Right. Your book has a target audience. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously young people, but I think specifically young
Hmm.
women as well, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the focus there.
So there's a couple reasons why I decided to kind of niche down and have it be more of a young female demographic. One is that I got tired of hearing it being in the real estate world, hearing some young buyers say, "Oh, my parents told me not to buy. They said wait till I get married
Oh,
and
yeah.
buy a house,
Interesting.
with my husband." Or people thinking I don't girls thinking I don't need to worry about money, my husband will take care of that.
Right.
And I think that's really, really bad advice for, I hope, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I wanted young women to see, like, no, here's why you should take control of this early on, and you'll just, if and when you do get married, you'll be in an even better position financially. Um, Also, I really want this book to kind of be a foot in the door, or just a stepping stone into getting in front of young women
Hmm.
to have some, credibility, like, hey, I'm a published author, to be able to start conversations, and hoping that it, maybe not being a co-ed environment, it would be a more safe place where they feel more open to talk about these things and really be able to learn. So there's been plenty of guys that have read this book and say that they learned a lot from it, and that it doesn't even
Sure.
seem like it's just for girls.
Yep.
But just the look of the book and everything, I feel like is kind of just, it feels, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
go
Well,
either way.
no,
Hope that makes
that's
sense.
great. Yeah. I mean, the lessons in the
Yeah.
book can be applied to anybody, really, probably at
Mhm.
any stage of life. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have a niche for young readers and specifically female readers. At
Mhm.
what age did you kind of target the book to? Is it like teenagers, high school students,
So I
women in their
really
early 20s?
loosely, like, I was hoping to get it into the hands of high schoolers first and
Yeah.
foremost, because a part of the book talks about how student loans can really impact your future negatively, and to really think about, getting a college education and what that student debt is going to look like, and maybe
Hmm.
finding other ways to pay for it rather than just loans and things like that. So I'm like, okay, so high schoolers need to read this before they get that student loan debt. But also, if you're already in college, there's things that you can learn from it, just even about, paying your debt off faster, or not opening those credit cards that they try to just like throw at you on every college
Yeah.
campus.
Oh, I
So,
don't,
but
I don't, I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore. Is that right? I thought somebody
oh,
told me that, like,
I hope
because
not.
so many kids got in trouble with, like, or maybe it was like free things that you're giving away to get a
Maybe.
credit card in your name. Sorry,
I don't
I
know.
cut you off
I mean,
there,
that
but
would be great if that's true,
yeah,
because yeah, I mean, I know
yep,
people personally that really got into to credit card trouble because of that, and
yeah,
not understanding
absolutely,
the implications of what they were doing.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
$5,000 credit card. That means I have $5,000,
yeah,
and
that's
I could buy all
that
these used CDs
exactly.
and Strombolis, and that's what I did in college. But
Use
yeah, I
CDs
mean,
and Stromboli. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. I mean, it was the mid to late '90s.
Yeah.
That's what was that was hot then. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, these lessons are so crucial. I mean, I know
Mhm.
personally, coming out of high school and then going into college. Yeah, I wasn't fiscally responsible,
Mhm.
and most people I was around didn't have a clue about
Right.
really about how money worked. And I think this is so invaluable, getting in the hands of high schoolers, and
And even middle
having that.
schoolers.
Yeah,
My
right.
my nephew's 13 and he read it already, and a friend of mine's
Okay.
daughter, I forget how old she is, but she's probably like 12 or 11, and she read it as well. So, it's
That's
never
great.
too young. Yeah.
My daughter just turned 13, like a couple weeks ago. So I am going
Okay.
after this. I'm going to go get
Good.
a book
Good.
and
Thank
give
you.
it to her. She's a voracious. Is that the right word? Reader.
Yeah.
So she'll probably finish it in a day and a half. She's got like all summer, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I hope she likes
Probably
it.
like, I had her on the show today.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I mean these lessons are fantastic. You mentioned getting it into the hands of high schoolers, and
Mhm.
I understand you have some upcoming gigs or speaking engagements. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, there's a couple libraries that I'm gonna be speaking at and just
Yeah.
doing kinda like small seminars. One's for it's a teen talk, so it's specifically for
No.
younger people. Another one is for adults, just to educate them about what they can be doing with money as well. Um, and yeah, I've just been reaching out to different venues. I'm speaking to a church youth group in
Oh,
October.
that's perfect.
Just yeah, I'm kind of just open to anything that gets me in front of kids or anybody that
Yeah.
could benefit from this. So
You
yeah.
know, my daughter, she's going into eighth grade. I mentioned her. Seventh grade, she had some home ec classes. I know they're not called home ec classes anymore. I forget what they were
Yeah,
called.
I don't
But
know.
she actually had some financial education in that, and I don't ever remember that when I was in school as being part of it. You know, you made like a book
I
cover,
remember
that type
learning
of thing.
how to write a check
Okay, right.
and like yeah, stuff like that. But we were never talked to about debt or compounding
Right.
interest or things that
Right.
actually matter.
Yep. Yep. I know my daughter had a project where they were given like 10 or 20 beans or something, and then you had to put the beans in different places. Like the beans represented money, and you had to buy a home and a car and do this and that, like actually make life decisions with these beans. And
Nice.
you get at least a value of in your head of, oh yeah, I can't have this $1 million house because that takes 19 of my beans away, or whatever it is.
That's
So
great. That's really
yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, I would think schools would be a target place for you to go. If you can get it into some schools to get in front
Mhm.
of groups of young women, I think that would be fantastic. That would be
I
an awesome
agree. And
opportunity.
I've been kind of looking into the best way to go about doing that. I don't know if I should reach out to individual districts or
Yeah,
talk to the Department of Education in Harrisburg. You know what
sure.
I mean? But it's
Yeah,
that's definitely something that I want to look into doing.
I would think even Warwick, the fact that you're a graduate and you've had Lancaster experience all your life, and you've written this book, I would think that would be like they would. I mean, I don't know how schools work,
Me
and
neither.
from that, inviting the public in to speak, but like I would
Right.
think like they should eat that up. I mean, this is like invaluable education for their students.
Thank
So
you.
kind of wrapping up here. If somebody wants to work with the homegirl or the money girl, how can they do that?
Yeah, well, LancasterHomegirl.com is my real estate website. ChristinaDiehl.com is my author website. And I'm easy to find on Facebook and Insta and
Yep.
everywhere. So
Just
yeah,
type in the
reach out
homegirl, the
anytime.
money
Yeah.
girl.
I once did an entire real estate transaction through Facebook Messenger. Like I didn't even
Okay.
realize that I didn't have my client's phone number because we just talked through Messenger.
Oh, that's so funny.
It
Hey,
was great.
that's a new age of
It's how it
communication.
yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep. Well, and you're harnessing the power of social media and
Mhm.
other platforms for good there. And the book. How can somebody get the book? Obviously, you
So
have the
yeah,
website.
it's on Amazon, but you can even just go to ChristinaDeal.com and click buy the book or yeah, and it'll take you to the Amazon page. Yeah,
Okay.
to buy it.
That's awesome. And so you can get it for Kindle, and you can also request or
A
purchase
paperback. Yeah,
paperback as well.
both
Yep.
options. Yeah.
Yep. And if somebody wanted a little taste of the book, I think you even offer that on the site as well. You can
Mhm.
download a chapter or something like that.
Right. Yeah, there's one chapter that's downloadable on ChristinaDeal.com.
Okay. Very cool. And
There
there
it
there it
is.
is. In fact, Chris is doing some reading in the background. It appears.
He's learning a lot.
Yes. Yes, he is. He is. He is. Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing about the homegirl and the money girl. We've got a
Yeah.
lot of comments, and it inspired some questions. In fact, I think there was another question that maybe we could have you answer. Jessica, there it is. What is the best home improvement to your home you can do? Is it still kitchens and bathrooms? That's a good question. Back to the homegirl side of things.
Right. Yeah. That's what people are looking for. Updated kitchens and bathrooms. Again, this is one of those things where it is a case by case basis. It depends on the property, but by and large, those are the investments that are going to get you the best return, kitchens and bathrooms.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of things you can do to the house, but I guess if
Mhm.
you're going to spend it somewhere, that's the best place to do it. And
Right.
Jessica is hot on the questions here. Any
It's
plans for selling it at local bookshops like Aaron's Books and Lidditz?
that would be awesome. And no, I haven't gotten around to really looking into that yet. So far, it's just Amazon.
Yep.
Um, I looked into doing it at Barnes and Noble, and that's just a bit. I think
I
that's
can imagine
not
that's
going to happen.
well,
So yeah, I
there's
should talk to local bookstores.
yeah, there's got to be. I mean, there's probably a local bookstore in almost every community, even the
Mhm.
libraries. I'm sure the libraries would love
Well,
to
I
love to
did.
put
I
it in there.
donated my book to all 17 libraries in Lancaster
Oh,
County,
cool.
so people
Yeah,
can go get it
smart.
there for free. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very
Mhm.
cool. Very cool. Well, Jessica,
Thanks.
well, Christina, thanks for sharing, and Jessica, thanks for the questions there.
Sure.
Um, so we'll wrap up the homegirl money girl stuff, and we'll learn a little bit more about Christina. I think we know Christina much better than we did 40 minutes ago, but we'll get a little personal here with our connection cocktail questions. We got a
All right.
fun splashy graphic. There we go.
Yeah.
Chris is in the background. Chris is our podcast producer. Chris Stone, fantastic podcast producer. If you ever need a producer of a podcast, Chris is your guy. I think there's music coming at some point for the Connection Cocktail. So this is my way of reminding Chris that I'm expecting music. So you're a lifetime Lancaster resident.
Yeah.
And I know it might be hard for you to narrow it down to one favorite thing to do in Lancaster, but if you could, what would it be?
Favorite thing to do in Lancaster? I mean, my favorite thing to do anywhere is go out to eat or go grab drinks with friends.
Sure.
Um,
Do
I'm
you
a
have
big
a?
foodie.
All
Yeah.
right. So that's kind of the follow-up question. And you can name
Yeah.
multiple places. That's fine. But do you have a few favorite places you like to go?
So it's hard for me to pick favorites because it's just, taste is ever changing, I suppose.
Yep.
I usually get
Yep.
obsessed with just new places that open up. So right
Yep.
now it's Proof.
Oh,
I don't
what's
know if
that?
you
No,
it's
I don't know
down
proof.
like in a basement on Queen Street, and it's this
Oh,
little like amazing cocktail bar with a few small plates, and
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah, it's just awesome. Double
What
C. I've been going
what
to a lot. Oh, what?
where's proof on Queen Street?
Like half a block north of the square.
Okay.
Right below Details, if you know where
Okay.
that store
Yeah.
is.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Never knew it existed. That's
But
cool. See,
yeah,
this
and
this is why Lancaster Connects
there
is so
you
fun.
go.
We learn new restaurants. And what was the other restaurant you
So
mentioned or other place?
Double C, it opened up on Prince Street, like, right before everything shut down for the
Oh, of
pandemic,
course.
but I'm so glad that they made it through. It's the same
Yeah.
owners as John J. Jeffrey's, which is
Okay.
also an
Yep.
amazing restaurant.
Awesome.
Um,
Farm to table.
so yeah, those are kind of like newer places that I love, and then, of course, there's ones that have been around forever that are also so
Yep.
great, so
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, every time I turn around or go through Lancaster City, there's something new going on down there.
yeah.
All right. So that was question one. Question two. I think you'll have an answer for number three. When you bring family, well, your family's in Lancaster and Lidditz, right? But
Mhm.
people from out of town, friends, other families, you're bringing them into Lancaster, and you want to impart something from Lancaster on them. What would that be? Like, what do you like to show off about Lancaster?
Yeah, so I think is there music?
Yeah, so Chris is playing with the Connection Cocktail music in the background. See,
Nice.
that's I don't know what we got. A little Kenny G or something. I don't know what's going on there.
So, I mean, everyone has to see Lancaster Central Market. That's, of
Okay.
course, you have
Yeah.
to take everyone there.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I would say it's just I usually introduce them to whatever is my favorite restaurant at the time because
Okay.
that's
Yep.
how I connect over food.
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thanks for playing along with the Connection
sure.
Cocktail.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic getting to know you, learning about Lancaster Homegirl, how that got started, and I think your Money Girl efforts are just awesome. I'd
Thank you.
encourage everybody to go to, what is your website? ChristinaDiehl.com/moneygirl, right? Or just ChristinaDiehl.com.
They'll find it. They just go to ChristinaDiehl.com. Yeah.
That's awesome. Definitely request a chapter of the book. Go buy the book. I'm going to do that after this show and give it to my newly teenaged daughter. So
Awesome.
I definitely want her to get started on the right foot from a financial standpoint. And
Yeah.
don't spend all your money on candy. That's not what you
Right.
should do with your money. So
Kids don't know that unless you tell them.
that's right. That's right. And who better to tell them than Christina Diehl? So thanks so much. Thanks for being a guest on Lancaster Connects. And
Thank you.
we'll see you around.
All right.
Yep. Oh, that was awesome. I really hope that people visit her site and get the book. Like I said, I will be doing that, and I'd love to see her in front of high schools. She mentioned she's talking to a youth group. There's so many organizations like that who work with young kids who can use that information. And I think we've all made mistakes with money, financial decisions. And I haven't read Christina's book yet, but I know the lessons that she's teaching in there would have helped me 20, 25 years ago, and friends and other people that we know. So super, super important and very cool thing that she's doing. She's just sharing her life lessons. So I think that's really, really cool. Just a reminder, we do prizes on the show. We've got a ton of comments. There's Amy. Yes, Christina did share some great information. Thanks as always for watching and tuning in. Our gifts, some Less Snore, More Cuddle swag, a tumbler and a Hydro Flask, or a $25 restaurant gift card. I don't have a restaurant gift card for the two that she mentioned, but they sound awesome. But there are plenty of other $25 restaurant gift cards that you have. Enter the contest. All you do is share a comment, and we'll spin the prize a later wheel at the end of the show. Just a couple things to wrap up. Mr. Jeff here in the Sleep Better book. I'm not going to read a sleep tip out of there, but I'll share one. I just went to the beach last week. Went to Cape May, as I always do with family and in-laws. Great week, great weather. Bed was okay. It wasn't my, adjustable bed with a full latex mattress on top. So it wasn't as comfy and as conforming to my sleep needs as I would have liked. But, it was an adequate bed. But it was made better because I brought my pillow. So that's my Sleep Better tip. Definitely, if you're traveling and can do it, take your pillow. You might not be able to if you're going on a plane trip, and if you could stuff a pillow in there, great. But you might not be able to stuff a pillow in your suitcase. But we took a car, and all the kids and my wife and I, we took our pillows, and it's like when I make a packing list for the stuff that I need to pack for a trip, the pillows are always the first on the list. Got to take my pillow because, a pillow is 25% of your sleep surface, and it supports kind of an important part of your body, your head, neck, shoulders, and the wrong pillow can blow a vacation up or a trip up. I know from personal experience years ago, always try to travel with my pillow if I can. So that's a Sleep Better tip. There's plenty more tips that you can get in our book, Sleep Better, and you can get it at gardnersmattressandmore.com/Sleep Better. Download or request your free copy. We'll mail it to you in your mailbox. It'll show up. Also have a testimonial for Gardner's Mattress and More. Let me pull it up here. I mentioned earlier in the show that we had a busy couple weeks. We did a tent event where we got rid of a bunch of clearance and closeout merchandise. And our crew had a lot of extra work related to that. And we just got done that and went into this painting project for the last 2 weeks. You see Drew there in the background. I think he's worked 13 days straight. And he's in line for a couple of days off here the next couple of days. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Drew, and our team in general, but Drew specifically. We kind of dealt with some illnesses, and again, this paint project, he put in a ton of work to see this through. And of course, I was on vacation last week, and Drew kind of kept the boat afloat, if you will. So he got a shout out on Google a couple weeks ago. A customer said they had a great experience with Drew to find a new mattress and adjustable bed base. He sat down with us to figure out what we were looking for, making good suggestions and educating us on aspects of the industry and products we did not know. So he was a wealth of information to our customer. He was very personable and zero pressure. I highly recommend Gardners for your next bed. So that's a little bit about what we do at Gardners. Obviously, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there are probably hundreds. One time we counted, it was like 137 places you could buy a mattress in Lancaster County. That was years ago. But we try to separate ourselves in terms of product and service and experience, and of course, education and knowledge. And we're our customers are not just a number, and we do get a lot of our customers from word of mouth, and reviews, testimonials. Got these books that are handwritten, full of handwritten testimonials. That's a huge part of our business, and it's why we get the reviews that we get. So always try to educate first, and of course the goal is to help you sleep better and wake up happy every morning. So that's pretty much the show. We've got to give away our prize. And we'll do that now, and I can let Drew get back to, well, he's giving his presentation there in the background. Like I said, we're in a new spot in the showroom, so eventually we'll be getting our own little room here. We've invested a ton. Oh, all right, Mario's our winner. Mario is a friend from New Jersey who tuned in. I don't know if he tuned in for the first time, but I think it was his first couple comments here. So, Mario, if you'd like to make the trip to Lancaster, I know you're just beyond the border, across from Philadelphia. Mario has a business where he sells decking and railing called Great Railing. Awesome values. Don't shop at Home Depot or Lowe's for your deck products. Get it from Mario and Great Railing. He does a fantastic job. So Mario, thanks for tuning in and thanks for commenting. I think that's a wrap. We've got a great guest next week, Tim Keller from Tenfold and their related organizations. They've got an event coming up in September, and we're going to talk to them, Tim and them. There's multiple people, I think, joining us about what that event is and how that impacts the Lancaster community. Thanks to everybody who commented. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. And thank you, Chris. If you would like to be a guest on the show, Lancaster Connects, let us know if you have a story to share, if you're a business owner, or work in a business that are making an impact in the community, just like Christina is making an impact with young women with her book. And you'd like to be highlighted on Lancaster Connects, let us know. Go to lancasterconnects.com/guest. Nonprofits, charitable organizations are fantastic guests for us. So we'd love to have you on. So I think we're booked up through August and into September, but definitely planning out some dates in the fall for guests for Lancaster Connect. So I think that's it. Jeff will be back next week, but we'll be in our new location here in the showroom. Like I said before, if you want to see our renovated showroom, come on in. We've still got some work to do. We got some things to put on the walls, but the paint looks amazing. You'll just have to take my word for it. So that's a wrap. Have a great afternoon and a great week, Lancaster. See you.